Hi, and thanks for joining us for one of Family Marine's videos. My name's Tom. So today we're back in our showroom and we're on a 23-foot Lusso by Barletta. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the operations of the Simrad touchscreen. And before I do that, I just want you to know that today a lot of electronics companies are no longer shipping out owner's manuals with the boats. They have their owner's manuals online. So if you were to purchase this boat from us today and you open up the bag with the Barletta owner's manuals, nope, there's nothing in there for the stereo. There's nothing in there for the Simrad depth finder. That's all online. So for example, if you wanted an owner's manual on the Simrad, you go into Google and you search Simrad G07, which is the model of the Simrad that we have in here, or if it's a Lowrance, or if it's a Hertz stereo, or whatever the case may be, and you just type in owner's manual and you'll find the owner's manual online. So with that being said, let's take a look at the Simrad. Okay, so this is the startup screen, the default screen that Simrad has, and it is a lot of information on the engine. So I'm going to go through this screen and then I'm going to go through some of the other screens that are available too. So on this screen we have a SOG, speed over ground. So that's kind of like your analog speedometer in your car. Over here we have a digital speed over ground. If we were driving across the lake right now, that would give us a digital readout of how fast we're going. Up on top we have a voltmeter. Tells us how many volts we have in our starting battery. We have a fuel gauge. Tells us how many gallons of fuel. And then this is a little bar graph down here of you know, like on your fuel gauge on your car. Over on the right we have a tachometer, and it also has an F, an N, and an R for forward, neutral, reverse. So it'll tell you what gear it's in. And that doubles over here. We have a gear. And then down below we have a trim gauge. So that just tells us what angle the outboard motor is at. So that's some basic information. Now a lot of information that you see on this screen is duplicated on the gauges on the dash. And you know, so here's a tachometer, here's a speedometer. We can toggle through all kinds of different things on the LCD screen that's built into the tachometer. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the Simrad. So sometimes what happens is, I don't know why, but through replacing batteries going dead, the defaults may disappear on there. So kind of one of the things I want to do today right now is to show you how to change some of these menus over on the right hand side. So let's take, for example, the bottom one, the water temp. Let's say I wanted to change that to something else. What I would do is touch that, and that whole orange box opens up. Then there's a menu bar up on top, and I touch that and I go to edit. Then now you see a blue box around the speed over ground, and so whatever item has a blue box around it is the one that we're going to edit. So if I want to edit water temp, I touch that one and you'll see that a menu pops open. Okay. So let's say I wanted to change it to outside temperature. What I would do is hit this menu button and I would go to data source. And I would notice that it is Simrad. I'd change it to Simrad. It's already there. And it's on the vessel view. Okay, so that one is already set up for air temp. So then I would check that box and now it goes to air temp. Okay, so that's kind of nice. So let's say I wanted to change the battery voltage because I already got battery voltage up there. So I go to there, I can go edit. And let's say I wanted to go something else, let's say, for example, on the engine. I'll touch engine. I could go alternator, engine hours. There's a plethora of information that you can set up on that screen. Fuel used, etc., etc., etc. Let's say I wanted to do oil pressure. Okay, so I'll hit the menu. Once again, data source. A lot of these are going to be driven by data source. and I'm going to do auto select on that one and start. So that's going to automatically auto start. Give it a second. Done. And now, of course, because I chose oil pressure, I want to check that box, and now it changed to oil pressure. I have gear, it's in neutral. I have fuel percentage, it's full. When I'm in the water, it'll read a depth because I have it set up for depth. Once again, you go to here, you go to data source. Okay, data source is Simrad G07. The box is checked. Okay, that has to be there. If it was not set up properly, if it was none or something like that, then that would be a problem and you wouldn't be getting a depth reading there. And then our little box has to be checked. Okay, so so that's how you change different menus over on the right hand side of the Simrad. Now, just so you know, we're back on this screen, so I'm going to get rid of that orange box that was around there. Now I touched this screen and an orange box went around that. Let's say, for example, I wanted a larger speedometer. Oh, there's a larger speedometer. But I also still have some other information, total fuel flow. There's my digital readout for my tachometer, my trim gauge, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's a kind of a nice, it's just a simple larger speedometer. Of course, we have one of those in the dash. I'm kind of old school. I like to use the one in the dash. To get rid of that screen, there's an X box there. You can check the X. I could do the same thing with the tachometer. Now, we don't see an analog reading. We have a digital reading of the speed. We have the coolant, temp to coolant, pressure, oil pressure, fuel flow, things like that, right? So, again, if we wanted to go back, we can just hit that X and it'll go back, right? Let's say I wanted to go there. Okay, there's our fuel, just our fuel. Tells us fuel used, total fuel flow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of information on our fuel. Volts, I could do the same thing. Oops, I'm sorry, it doesn't do volts. So that's really about it on that portion of the menu. When I go over here, it says Mercury and it says vessel control. I can touch on that vessel control and it'll give me a menu over here. It'll give me a cruise control. So if I wanted to set my cruise control, just like in your car, I can raise or lower my RPM. And then down here it says enable. Right now it's disabled. If I want to enable it, I touch that and it'll turn orange. Now the orange says, yep, we're going to go maximum 2084 RPM. I can increase it or decrease it on the fly as needed. It's okay. So to deactivate it, it says right there, cruise active. To deactivate it, I hit disable. And now it's shut off. All right? So let's go back. Troll control. You have to have the engine in gear and idling in order to operate that. That's just like trolling speeds. If you want to accurately increase or decrease your trolling speed. All right, so we're going to go back again. Smart tow. That's kind of like a cruise control again. You can preset a particular speed for, let's say, Johnny likes to water ski at 21 miles an hour. You could set that up in there. And then active trim. This particular boat does not have the option of active trim. It's nice to have. People love active trim, and we can talk about that in another video. And then sport exhaust. Sport exhaust is, yeah, you're going to hear a little more rumble from the engine, right? Kind of like a hot rod car out there. It's going to sound pretty cool. All right, so that's what that menu is all about. Now, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the 9-dot box. This brings you to the home menu. The Mercury menu which is this one, is, the startup menu, but this is the home menu. Okay, so I can do, for example, here's my GPS, right? And right now here's Eagle Lake right across the street from us. We can take and hit either the positive buttons to zoom in, or we can use our fingers to zoom in, right? And you'll see that we've set up the screen so that it's very accurate as far as the depths of Eagle Lake or whatever lake that you're on. All right, now let's say I want to go to Echo. Echo is my depth finder. It's going to give us a digital readout of the depth. We're not in the water right now, so it's not going to show anything, right? But it would show structure, it would show fish, blah, blah, blah. It's going to show us surface water temperature, and that we're on 200 kilohertz. So, and again, we could zoom in or zoom out as needed, right? So that's our depth finder. Again, it's not going to work because we're in a showroom. There's no water here. Side scan, we don't have side scan. Down scan, we do have down scan. And that's just going to give us a little better image of the bottom of the lake, right? And then we have navigation. We don't have navigation, all right? It's not going to do anything, although it pops up. And then we have our engine, of course. Over here on the right, we have some preset dual screens. So let's say I choose that one. Oh, now I have my depth finder and my GPS on a split screen, all right? Or let's say I choose this one, and there's my down scan with my depth finder. So I can set this up to whatever I want. I can drag and drag. Now I have another setup. Let's say I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go back to here, and there it is. That's the one I just set up. Pretty simple, huh? This little red X in the lower left-hand corner is a man overboard. That's going to tell your wife, throw the life jacket. No, I don't know what it does, to be honest with you. I've never used it. Lower right is our power button. This settings button, once we set this up, you should really never need to go in there. If you lose some settings and you just can't seem to get it set up properly, either consult your owner's manual, but preferably call us. There are some things, for example, fuel that has to be set up on this vessel in order for these screens to read properly, okay? So most of the time, no, we're not going to want you to go up into setup because we don't want things getting messed up in there, all right? So that's not something that, yeah, you want to play with. That's really for us, the dealer. Okay, so that's kind of the basic setup. Oh my God, you know, these Simrads are so sophisticated. If you're the kind of person that has that great big monster Lowrance fish locator and you have all kinds of graphs and bars and charts and menus, and you want to do that with your Simrad, yeah, it does have a lot of that capability. I'm not going to get into it on this pontoon because it just gets so utterly confusing. I just wanted to hit on the basic structure of the Simrad today. So, with that being said, if you have any questions, again, consult the owner's manual online or call Tom. And, oh, by the way, there is a telephone number to consult someone at Simrad. There's a customer service telephone line that's in the owner's manual, so you got to download that. You might even be able to find it just by typing in customer service at Simrad in Google. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and if you'd like to give us a call, our number is area code 320-222-BOAT. That's 222-2628. See us on the web at www.familymarineboats.com, and of course on our YouTube channel, which is Family Marine Willmar. So thanks very much for watching.